It was too early, it was too soon.
You keep thinking about excuses though. No, you don't hear me come out one excuse, oh, you know, he's a heavier.
Just now, Conor Benn found himself surrounded by Chris Eubank's crew, and the air instantly turned electric. You can see the fury burning in his eyes, and every word from him carries a promise: revenge will come only between the ropes. Chris Eubank Jr. should brace himself, because Benn isn't just angry, he's a man ready to fight for honor, for pride, and maybe even to draw a little blood.
He's Chris, isn't he? Like he's dead. So I like him as much as I possibly can.
Conor Benn looks completely shaken in this moment, trying to hold on to his mindset while clearly fighting to find the right words. Chris Eubank Jr. must be grinning inside because this kind of hesitation screams weakness. When a fighter begins to doubt his own purpose, the battle in the mind is already lost, and that's where true advantage begins.
Historically bad. So I wonder, when you're sitting there watching that after the war that you just had 6 days prior, what is going through your mind as you're watching those fights in Times Square?
I'm a little bit confused. Like, do you want to be a fighter?
Dave Coldwell's face says it all. His reaction captures the entire press conference in one look. Things spiraled fast when Conor Benn went too far and crossed that invisible line. Eubank Jr. stayed composed, while Benn let his emotions take over, turning everything into pure chaos. And when emotion outweighs discipline, that's the moment you realize who's already claimed the mental victory.
I'm not going to prepare for this. That's what you keep coming out of. I don't need you to make up excuses for me if you think I'm going to lose.
No excuses.
Adam Smith couldn't be more right. All this chaos has only poured gasoline on the fire, making fans even more eager to see who can truly back up their words once the gloves are on. Conor Benn's raw aggression has stolen the headlines, but it's Eubank Jr.'s calm, steady composure that makes him look like the real professional between them.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Does that cross the lane, do you think?
Yeah, it does. Listen, the presser was good. It was a great presser, back and forth, poking each other, but not too far. But once you get physical and you touch a man's face, then
Conor Benn tries to keep his voice steady, but the bitterness slips through every word. He claims he doesn't want to hurt anyone, yet there's a sharp edge in his tone aimed straight at Chris Eubank Jr. It almost feels like Conor's trying to convince himself rather than the crowd. His words make it clear, Eubank isn't just an opponent, he's living rent-free in Benn's mind.
Twice as big for the casual fans. Do we condone it? I mean, in boxing terms, should that happen at a head-to-head? Of course not, but these things do happen. This is the fight business, and it's just made it even bigger, and we wait to see what happens next.
Johnny Nelson says exactly what most fans are thinking. The situation around Conor Benn's camp keeps shifting by the hour, leaving people puzzled and on edge. Meanwhile, Eubank Jr.'s team stays sharp, steady, and laser-focused. That clash between chaos and control might just end up being the one thing that decides everything when fight night finally comes.
I don't like Chris. I don't have to like him, but no one's out to hurt anybody here, and it's a shame that he lives in that world of paranoia where he genuinely believes that anybody's out to get him, because nobody really is. And it's for his toenail. I couldn't care less about his toenail. I don't care. I mean, I'll cut some of mine off and give it to him if you want.
Frank Warren's words perfectly capture how tangled this whole story has become. Legal drama, confusion, and public tension have buried the fight beneath the headlines. Still, Eubank Jr. stays locked in on the mission, while Conor Benn keeps swinging at the noise around him. One man is gearing up for battle, and the other is stuck fighting shadows outside the ring.
It don't matter what drugs you take, it doesn't make you a better fighter. It might make you stronger, it might make you fit. It doesn't make you a better fighter, and that's proof. So until more news comes out.
Hamza Shiraz gives Conor Benn full credit for his explosive power, but many feel he's overlooking Chris Eubank Jr.'s experience and rock-solid chin. Benn's game is built on pure aggression, yet that same fire could feed straight into Eubank's sharp counterpunching. And if Benn can't keep his emotions in check when the pressure peaks, this prediction might come back to haunt him.
I'd let the penny drop that the fight could never go forward. And some of the stuff that's come out since about people being, the board being sued and something, and so forth, is just a non-runner. It's crazy. I mean, the fact of the matter.
George Groves offers a calm, honest take here, applauding Chris Eubank Jr. for reaching his peak, yet warning him about the danger of trying to relive that same rush. His tone carries the weight of experience, not judgment, like a fighter who's been there before. Conor Benn's fans see it as a sign that Eubank's best days might be behind him, but to others, it's proof that his hunger to shine on the biggest stage still burns strong.
What's your prediction, Ben or Eubank?
I've got
Conor Benn to win inside 6 rounds. I feel like the weight will affect Eubank too much on how it affected him before as well. And it was a hard fight. It wasn't an easy fight. Yeah, Conor Benn to win inside about.
Teddy Atlas dissects the matchup with his usual calm precision. He views the fight through size, balance, and control, seeing how Conor Benn's aggression could end up being the very thing that beats him against a larger opponent. His tone, sharp and honest as ever, carries no bias, just raw fight logic. And in a rivalry driven by emotion, his perspective cuts through the noise and brings everything back to cold, simple reality.
I think maybe Conor Benn beats him. I think if I was Eubank, my point was at the time, I was like, mate, like you have just climbed your Everest. You've just headlined a stadium. You've beat what is now a rival, spectacular fashion in terms of getting the win with your dad by your side and all the hooting and hollering that went on amongst it. You can't top that feeling. I don't begrudge you if you want to earn more money out of the sport, but be careful because you look way past his best.
Gordon Ramsay might not live in the boxing world, but his take nails exactly what the public feels. He shows respect for both fighters, yet doesn't ignore the brutal truth of jumping 2 weight classes. His prediction, Eubank taking control after 6 rounds, echoes what many already think. For Benn, it means starting fast, taking chances, and ending it before Eubank's stamina kicks in. It's a raw, honest perspective from a voice you wouldn't expect to weigh in.
My preview of this fight is the same as it would have been for the fathers. How unusual is that? So you got Benn, a smaller man, and there's a hydration clause. He was a welterweight that he fought a few fights at junior middleweight, but Eubank's been a middleweight and super middleweight most of his career. So he is the guy who's bigger. I see the fight as Benn having to get close without taking damage.
Bomac's confidence in Chris Eubank Jr. feels steady and unbreakable. His words carry the calm assurance of someone who truly believes in Eubank's natural skill and discipline at middleweight. It's the voice of a coach who sees real substance beyond the noise. While fans argue over whether Benn's power can change everything, Bomac's tone hints that Eubank's control and experience will quietly decide how this story ends.
And jumping up a weight is hard, but jumping up 2 is even harder. So Chris has got the advantage if it goes past 6. Ben's got to get this done early, otherwise it's going to be Chris's. I predict Chris in round 6.
Conor Benn completely loses his composure here, firing back at Chris Eubank Jr. with pure anger and frustration. The tension feels heavy in the air, and every word from him hits with raw, unfiltered emotion. This isn't trash talk anymore, it's pride spilling over. Benn looks like a man done with the disrespect, ready to let his glove speak for him the next time they meet.
I said, man, once you get past this fight, and you dominate this fight, they can't deny you fighting for a world title, At 160, I believe he can be a world champion.
At 160?
At 160, I believe he can be a world champion.
Oscar de la Hoya speaks with the weight of someone who's truly lived the war inside the ring. His warning about jumping straight into a rematch hits differently because it comes from experience, not theory. He understands the emotional and physical price both men paid in their first battle. His words don't sound like analysis, they sound like a quiet message of survival to both sides. De La Hoya knows the kind of scars a rivalry like Benn versus Eubank can leave behind, and his tone feels almost protective, as if he's guarding their futures.
You know what happens when you have an agreement? Do you know what happens? You know when you sign a contract? Do you know what that is?
I didn't sign a contract.
Do you know what that is?
To fight you on
Do you know what that is?
I signed
Do you know what that is?
rematch you. I didn't sign.
Do you know what that is?
So
do you know what an agreement is?
Now the date is perfect.
But do you know what an agreement is? Do you understand?
No, I don't know what agreement is. What is it?
Well, you're an idiot, that's why.
Oladipo's take blends logic with real excitement. He reminds everyone that Eubank's size mattered in their first fight, but also points out how Conor Benn now carries lessons from that defeat. The idea that Benn has already felt Eubank's power and knows what's coming adds a deeper twist to this rematch. Aid also reminds fans that this feud isn't just about payback, it's about legacy and world titles. His delivery balances truth with hype, keeping the audience hooked on every single word.
With these rematches, with these types of intense fights taking place, like Conor and Eubank, a rematch right away will probably end their career. It's that intense.
Carl Fruck offers Conor Benn the kind of advice only a battle-tested fighter can give. He urges him to stay calm, save his energy, and not let raw emotion drive the fight. Benn listens, but his body language tells another story, restless, tense, full of that trademark aggression. Fraka's message of patience and control feels wise, yet it almost fights against who Ben really is. It's experience versus instinct, the cool composure of a veteran against the burning fire of a young contender desperate to prove himself.
Ultimately, in the end, sort of bigger guy won it. The rematch is going to be interesting, I think. He's now realised that I can hurt that fighter. I've felt the other fighter's power. Next time, I know what's coming. I think he might even do better in the next one. I think he's got a shout to win it.
And Eubank's older.
I get these fights, but you do want to see Ben, can you kick on to try and win a...
Simon Jordan's words cut straight to the heart of the Ben versus Eubank rivalry. He dives into the emotion behind it all, how this fight is about family pride and father-son legacies just as much as it is about boxing. The image of Eubank calling his father after the fight adds a powerful layer, showing that both men are still living in the shadows of the names they carry. Jordan's tone mixes sharp wit with real insight, wondering how long the hype can survive before fans start craving something deeper.
I'd like to see you calm it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Just on the outside, just the movement, just steady it down.
Boring though, Carl.
No. On the outside, man, you don't want to be chucking energy away and burning down the bar. Think of it.
Boring.
No, it's not boring, because then you get in range and make it exciting.
Chris Eubank Jr. speaks with a fury that still burns from the controversy. Every word drips with accusation and a hint of humiliation aimed at Conor Benn. This isn't just a rivalry, it's personal, built on pride and integrity. His infamous line about an egg across the face has gone viral, becoming the symbol of his outrage over what he sees as a betrayal of boxing's code of honor. Eubank stands tall as the moral voice in this feud, and though Ben's supporters insist he's already paid his price, the fire between them just won't die out.
One main thing that's not on the, headlines of news is when you talk to people about their relationship with their parents, they link it a lot to that show, which I was surprised about. People I called my dad as soon as I left the arena.
Because Eubank said that, didn't he?
He
said that.
People I've spoken to personally was like, I called my dad, I texted him straight
But as
away.
a spectacle, which was the big
amazing.
translation, wasn't it? Which people said it crossed over. I mean, there's only so many times he's going to tell Barry Hearn's son to shut up at a press conference, isn't there? There's only so many times we're going to be able to hear Chris Eubank.
Conor Benn's words pour out a mix of frustration and pride as he tries to separate himself from one of boxing's most talked about controversies. His refusal to accept the test results shows either a deep belief in his own innocence, or a desperate need for others to see it that way. The emotion in his voice paints the picture of a man backed into a corner but refusing to crumble. This moment adds yet another layer to the Ben Eubank saga, as every word he speaks seems to question what the public truly believes about honesty in the sport.
We can't let them cheat, get caught cheating, and then act like it's okay and I'm cleared and I can't say why, but no. If you get caught with drugs in your system, especially in a fight against me, then the minimum you're going to receive is an egg across your face.
The tension between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. has reached its breaking point, and this rematch isn't just another fight, it's a battle for pride, legacy, and redemption in front of the entire world. Ben stands as a man who feels betrayed by the system, desperate to prove his truth not through words, but through punches. Eubank Jr., meanwhile, carries himself as the guardian of boxing's honor, refusing to let what he sees as dishonor go unpunished. The crowd remains divided, some see Ben as the wronged man, others as the villain. But everyone can feel it now, this rivalry has become something deeply personal, something historic. And when that bell finally rings, one question will echo louder than the rest: who will write his redemption story, and who will be crushed by the weight of his own words? Drop your predictions below, because this one could redefine British boxing forever.